Hello, one and all, I'm GrimpaulCheese, and welcome back to Dark Souls. So, I've got some bad news and some good news. Let's start off with the good news. Me and Soldier have been talking. We both believe that the suit of armor I've got on currently with my hat looks absolutely fabulous. The bad news is I lost 30 minutes of footage from this point onwards. So what I did is I started up another playthrough purely for this video's sake and any other mishaps that happened to go along. And I basically... anything that was missed through like chests or like one-time events only, I basically re-recorded. So, through the power of editing, you'll see like things that should be there through the power of black and whiteness, like it's another dimension or another reality, how we want to see it. So I'm just going to play through like I've normally played through, but you'll see different things. You'll see that things have changed. One of the first things that has changed is that I am one level higher. I am now 64 with 19 faith instead of 18 faith. The souls I got from my way all the way into the fortress, I spent on a good amount of faith. So that over and done with, let me just show you what's basically done. So goodbye. Well, actually, before we say goodbye to our good old shiny friend over here, his ever lovely feather, we'll give him a keepsake. Because I don't know when I'll be able to see him once again, and he loves us so far, and we love him. So we're going to drop this sword. It's treated us well, and if we ever need one, I'll just get another one out of the bonfire. But either way, may it serve you well and truly. And goodbye. I don't know when we will see each other next. You ever so lovely devil, you. Anyway, as I was saying, I basically did 20 minutes of the video, and hopefully I'll be able to recap it within 10 minutes. So in this room happens to be a broken table, but not only a broken table, but a Silver Knight. As I said at the end of the last video, Silver Knights are the equivalent of basically the Black Knights. But, unlike the Black Knights went with Gwyn, while the Silver Knights stayed as, like, City Watch, Town Guard, Prison Guardians, or something like whatever you want to call them. So that's what their basic job is, and this one is very friendly, to the point where he's just willing to have a nice, lovely conversation with us. Well, he doesn't know the talkative type, mind you, but either way, you know, we probably have to kill him. Like this. Now, that shield of theirs is amazing, and I want it. Now, I'm gonna hope that one day he'll drop it, but he managed to drop his Silver Knight spear, which is wonderful. Now, in this chest happens to be 3 sunlight medals, as I'll probably edit in, or maybe I won't, depending on how I feel, but I most likely will. So let's have a look at that spear, shall we? So I also got a Silver Knight stray sword from my the corrupt recording playthrough. But let's have a look at the spear, shall we? Let's ignore any other bonus things you see. We'll talk about that later. So the Silver Knight spear. The Silver Knight of Anor Londo guard the city using his beautifully slender weapon. The spear can be wielded in both hands in a focused thrust that uses one's body weight or swung in a large, sweeping motion. So the spear itself is actually quite nice. The scaling on it, the strength scaling shouldn't really exist, whilst dexterity scaling is quite nice. As you can see, it requires a lot of dexterity, just merely for its absolute slender nature. So if I merely equip that, and actually, while we're talking about the spear, earlier I got a Silver Knight straight sword, which I was talking before. It's the exact same thing, but it says it changes attacks, in which the wielder takes great advantage steps, and makes use of his body weight and even deadlier in single hits. So this sword is also quite effective. It's exact same scaling and exact same requirements, and I'll equip both just so you can have a look at them. So let me find it quickly. So that's that, and let's equip the sword. So with these two, let's show you what it looks like. So this is the spear. As you can see, the spear is nothing to write home about. It's this giant pokey stick. That's literally all it is. Very slender, but does the job. So the whole unique thing about this is that you can do this. Sadly, it won't let me do it. But you can do a giant sweeping motion. There we go. That's just part of the sweeping motion, I'm afraid, since it won't actually do the sweeping motion because I don't have enough dexterity. My fingers don't know how to hold the shaft properly, and take that in whatever contest you really want to take it. And then the other one we have is this short sword. Well, the straight sword, actually. As you can see, it's a very straight sword, actually. Very flat, and actually very... not really actually flat, it's very small, actually. And not that real broad. To be honest, I'm not even sure how I even know how to use this sword. Every sword in the past has been this, like, this massive, gargantuan blade. It really is swords more as clubs, really, so it's a bit unusual for us in that department. Now, if I just need to find where my previous thing was. So there it is. So we'll equip this for now, since we don't even know how to use those dainty weapons to begin with. So, we'll take a quick drink, since we actually took quite a bit of blows from that battle. These people do a lot of damage, even regarding our massive amount of armor. I mean, it's the most armor we've ever tried to actually put in our body. It's even amazing we're even able to do it. Luckily, though, everything in this place dies in literally 2 hits. I didn't drop anything. I'm hoping that one day they'll drop their shield. Now, something I should note is here you see a whole new room. A dark, ominous stairway, and a little gap right there. It's kind of like you're seeing through a hole to see a hole. Kind of a holeception if you're into those internet memes. So in here, I would like to note there's like parchments. It mainly makes me think, why don't we just sit down and read the parchments? The reason why is why do we care about the hollow ramblings of someone not existing anymore? Exactly right. So right in this fireplace is where a secret passage would be. And the way you get through the secret passage is by merely smacking it once. And you open it up, just like that. But down here, down this dark, ominous staircase, happens to be a dark hall. Now, this hall in particular holds many great treasures that people love and adore. Now, right here was once a mimic, but as you'll probably see, I'll probably kill the mimic. I don't know if I'll actually keep in the battle of me fighting it, but I'll probably show you its dead remains. There's also these treasure chests. Now, each of the treasure chests has certain items. You had the dragon tooth, you had the Havel's great shield, you have Havel's leggings and gauntlets, the chest plate, and the helmet. So basically all the Havel gear we got from one of his warriors from in the watchtower. Now, I'm just going to show you the Havel items. Now, Havel's items are very interesting. One of them happens to be a dragon's tooth. Created from an everlasting dragon's tooth, a legendary hammer of Havel the Rock. The Drake... Created from an everlasting dragon's tooth. Legendary hammer of Havel the Rock. The dragon tooth will never break as it's harder than stone. And it grants the wielder resistance to magic and fire. Now that isn't too much resistance, mind you, but it's still something to consider nevertheless. You know, having 5 resistance is better than having no resistance at all sometimes. Do you understand what I mean? Hopefully you do. So, the thing is about this tooth is that it has 999 scaling. It cannot break no matter what you do. It's a unique weapon, and I'll show you it right now. You see this? You recognize this, don't you, from the Havel warrior we fought before. Now if we just whack against the floor, just like that, you can see how he pummeled us before. Now, the thing is Havel equipment is incredibly heavy. Now, also this is one of the few dragon weapons in the game. It can only be upgraded with dragon scales. In an earlier video I've explained all about before. You also got Havel's great shield. You got a nice stony shield. A great shield of the legendary Havel the Rock, cut straight from a great slab of stone. This great shield is imbued with the magic of Havel, provides strong defense, and is incredibly heavy. A true divine heirloom on par with the dragon's tooth. Now, this is by far the best shield in the game. It's actually, I would say, second best shield, actually. As you can see, it's miles better than what we're currently wielding. If you compare the stats to our stone great shield as it is, it's better in every aspect. Aside from that, it's heavier. But not heavier by much, only 6 weight. It's got 90 magic, that's almost 100, literally, and you've got 80 fire, 80 electricity resistance. Or, on top of it, having 4+ stability. You might think, oh, it's just 4+ ability, that's not much, right? It actually is a lot. Don't underestimate that 4 stability. It may save your life one day. One day. But nevertheless, it's useful. Now, the description of this is of Havel the Rock, right? And if I go to the armor of Havel, now all the armor roughly says the same thing. But look on the stats of that! Look at it! Isn't that amazing stats? It actually truly is. I mean, let's compare this right now to the Black Iron armor. Now that is amazing stats. Because the stats on that is 68 for 15 rate, basically. That's what we're basically paying. While this is 19 rate for nearly 100 armor. That is amazing in my books. Now, the description of this is armor worn by Havel the Rock's warriors. Card from solid rock, its tremendous weight is matched only by the defense it provides. Havel's warrior never flinched nor retreated from battle. Those unfortunate to face them were inevitably beaten to a pulp, as we witnessed ourselves when we came across one of them. Now, earlier in the same video when we came across the Havel Knight, I spoke about the controversy between the Havel warriors and Havel the Rock himself. Now, Havel warriors are known throughout the game. There's only one of them, mind you, but the armor says it's of Havel's warriors, right? But, oh but, you got the Dragon's Tooth and the Great Shield itself saying it belonged to Havel himself. And we only counted one knight, and he was in the Watchtower. Now, the thing is, since those belong to Havel the Warrior, right? Or Havel the Rock, however you want to say it. We killed him, right? Now, it's heavily debated that wasn't Havel, because in the sequel, you fight more Havel warriors, but you fight 2 Havel warriors in particular. So it's heavily debated that the armor doesn't really, the shield and the Dragon's Tooth isn't Havel's himself. There's a bit of a misquote on it. It's argued that it isn't Havel, otherwise you fight Havel in the second game, which is considered to be like 2,000 years in the future. So it's kind of debatable there in a sense. So consider how you will, like, what we thought wasn't Havel, or it was Havel, but how to explain the Havel in the future type thing, you know? It's kind of like one of his time paradoxes. Plus there's an extra suit of Havel armor as well in the second game. So, take how you will, but it's amazing armor, but I will not be wearing it myself, because if I show you it... One second, if I just equipped all of it right now, aside from the helmet. Let's just equip it all. Now let's have a look at it. Look how bulky this armor is. I mean, look at that rock armor. It's literally thick as anything. Many layers of rock just piled on top of each other, and literally nailed together with chains, it seems. Absolutely amazing. But we will not be wielding it because simply, it looks a bit ridiculous, doesn't it? I mean, that heavy, thick armor with a tiny, thin metal helmet. No, that doesn't suit it really, does it? And really, the Black Knight armor doesn't really suit either. I mean, Iron Tarkist armor, sorry, my apologies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick with my poncho, I'm going to go Black Sorcerer Gauntlets, and I'm going to go with Black Iron Leggings. Now I bet you're wondering, why Black Iron Leggings? Look, one second, look how thin it makes my thighs look. I mean, look at that. I mean, I know people say black is slimming, but come on. Look how slimming my thighs look with these. And plus it still gives us ample protection of our shins and knees. So why not, right? I'm also going to de-equip this ever so lovely Dragon's Tooth. Here's a nice lovely weapon, but if it didn't require dragon scales, I would use it. Sadly, it does require dragon scales. It's an absolutely wonderful weapon. Now I just need to find the greatsword. There it is. So that's that. And basically that's what you missed down here. Now, I believe there's only one other thing we've missed, so other than that, you don't have to worry about much about what we actually missed, regarding to irredeemable progress that I cannot show once again. So that's over and done with, and so we should enter this door, but the problem is that we can't. It's not open from this side. Now you think, that's just a simple wooden door, we can just break it with this massive sword of ours, right? It's basically a fire axe. If we whack it, no, you can't. It's an unbreakable wooden door. It's either that, no, let's actually do it in a way where it's actually vertical. Yeah, it's unbreakable, sadly. You can't break doors in this game. It would be amazing to do so, but sadly that is not the case. Now, as I said earlier in another video, this place is renowned for its spiral staircases. It absolutely adores them, and this happens to be one of many. Actually, there's two things actually we missed, and one of them happens to be in this room. Now, here's one of these lovely knights. This one has a spear. Now, These things are absolutely wonderful, absolutely shiny. And to be honest, there's one thing I adore about them, and that's their cape. It's ever so flappy. Now, unlike the border armor, I know for a fact that these people have a flappy cape when you get their armor. Now, also, on this body happens to be a soul of a hero. There's also that to note. There's also a lovely breathing noise you can hear throughout the entire game. No, it's not someone right next to the microphone breathing into it, even though I don't think any of you really want me to breathe into the microphone like that, but you have a Titanite demon. A Titanite demon sitting in the very room, in kind of like a room where a bunch of nobles would come together and pray. Kind of like one of those, Middle Eastern things where they worship Mecca. I can't think of the wording for it, but you hopefully understand what I mean. But it's kind of like one of those rooms. But instead of having a load of people with turbans and so on and forth, you have, well, a giant black stone creature that's willing to impale anything in there. Now, if you're going to ask me how the hell that black thing got in there, well, I'm going to tell you this, I have no freaking idea. I mean, there's a small door down there, and I don't think these things have the ability to change sizes. Otherwise, I think this thing would be the size of the fortress itself. But that's just my thoughts anyway, and we'll probably fight him later on, because as you go through the game, enemies get harder and harder to kill. What I mean by that is, the Titanite demons, the more you come across them, later you come across them in the game, the harder they have, the more health, the more armor, the more damage they do. It's amazing. Also, I'd like to note that this room has a lot of dragon heads. But the thing is even though this is basically Gwyn's fortress, right, these aren't everlasting dragon heads. Well, I don't think they are anyway, because if you look at that looks more like a drake head if you ask me. It's just coloured blue. And none of these are really the size or nor look like an ancient dragon. They're more like drake heads. So it really makes me think, why? Why not put ancient dragon heads? Ah, there's also another thing. So right here was a mimic, was another thing, and once again I will show you what you got from it. So I picked up a golden coin, or a silver coin. But either way, on the opposite side of the room happens to be another mimic. Now this one holds either a silver or gold coin. I forget what one has what. So I'll show you I'll show you the coins. I never really showed you the copper coin, really. So I'll show you all three of them. Coin made of copper. Its face shows Old Man Life, god of medicine and drink. Even coins of great value in the world of men have little value in Lordaeron, where the accepted currency is souls. Those who dream of returning to the outside world are fond of carrying these around. And if we look at the silver one, coin made of silver with a portrait of legendary Night King Rendell on its face. Even coins of great value in the world of men have little currency in Lordaeron, where the accepted currency of souls, and it says the same thing as before. And this one is the important one. So this is one of two references to Allfather Lloyd. The coin made of gold with Allfather Lloyd's and his white halo shown on its face. So Allfather Lloyd is I think it's the uncle of Lord Gwyn or the father, one of them two. I know he's the Allfather because he gave birth to the majority of the gods. So all the gods are basically related to each other through Lloyd himself. And I know for a fact that Lloyd hates undead. So, yeah, that's a thing. So those are the coins, and those are the things that we missed. Now, there's also this guy all the way back here. Now, we want to take care of this guy, because if we don't take care of this guy will try and pummel us to death. But luckily, oh god. Oh, no! Oh, that dodge. That ever so wonderful dodge. Now, that was close. Take care of him like this. I was going to say, luckily, in 2 hits they die, or just 1 backstab. We need a drink after that. Dear God. That was awful. Now, what did he drop? Dragon Slayer arrows. Interesting. I didn't actually think they could drop Dragon Slayer arrows. So these arrows in particular are Dragon Slayer arrows. They are the massive harpoons they fire at us. So these are giant dragon hunting arrows resembling iron spears, used by Hawkeye Goth and his Dragon Slayers. They puncture human flesh easily. Dragon Slayer arrows can only be used by a Dragon Slayer great bow, and vice versa. So these things are amazing. The base damage is 100, and they basically are giant harpoons, but you only can use them with a great bow. Sadly, you can't use them with a tiny bow. That'd be amazing to fire one of them out of a short bow, but sadly that is not a thing. So, with that over and done with, I don't think I have anything else to really, well, I missed, so to say. So we can just enjoy these lovely, lovely paintings. And you can see it's kind of like a medieval style paintings of all the people that used to live here before, including this Russian-looking man with his fur cap and his golden cane. It's very interesting. We've got someone writing, and we've got a bunch of flowers. Also a nice view, really. I also would like to note something, actually. Something actually got my attention. So in his bed, does anyone think it's ridiculous about how high the mattress is? I mean, if the mattress is from the wooden base to the blanket on top, that's a massive mattress. Who the hell can sleep on that thing? Probably a really tall person. But even then, it doesn't seem like a tall person can sleep on this bed. What strange people used to live here. Or is there a strange painting of, I don't know where that is, actually. I don't think that is a place in the game. But either way, this is a painting of Guinevere herself. It is Guinevere in a prime, so to say. Guinevere is the goddess of sunlight, beauty, and fertility, I believe. One of them things, and also, you'll notice this ever so shiny, pokey thing poking throughout the doorway. Well, they're not hiding themselves very well, but if you ignore this person, they'll come by and absolutely skewer you like the pig we are. But luckily, within 2 good old hits, we managed to cleave through the armor and grab another Silver Knight straight sword. It's a shame those things are so rubbish. They're kind of good if you know how to use them, if you go for the dexterity, but for the stats they truly are just not worth it. Now, I also forgot to note, on the balcony that happens to be all the way down here, that we just on a minute ago, with another great bow person, you can actually see a friend of ours. Now, I didn't note that out, I apologize for that. But before we do so, we need to kill this man. This shiny old figure right here, the great bow, is very much annoying, because once again, like all other great bows, or every other knight, now, oh my, ow, okay, that's why they're painful. Within a few hits, they basically decimate you, no matter what armor you're truly wielding. I'll be right back there. So I'd like to note that these things hurt, and I mean they hurt a lot. I may have died once or twice trying to come up here because I was kind of in a rush. Maybe kind of, sorta, it might just be me being bad at the game and I'm just making excuses. Probably, most likely. But either way, we managed to get some more Dragon Slayer arrows. So, we're gonna go on the original path that we originally intended to go, which happens to be down here. Now we have to fight one of these silver beings. You know, the more I fight them, the more I actually start to actually dread them. Because they actually have a very bad angling. Because they have a... Did you see that little thrust they do? They lock onto you and just homing thrust in your face. But, yeah, so like that, exactly. So what we need to do is just obviously chop them from the waist down. Now, the main issue is they have much faster... Wow, how am I not dead again? Holy jeez. Yeah, so they're way faster than we could ever be. It's just that preparation time with this giant greatsword. So here's the friend I was talking about before. It happened to be Sigmar. Now, it's him contemplating. I don't know what he's going to say now, but we'll see what he's going to say now.
This is quite a fix. We'll need another 3, no, maybe 5 bodies. Quite a fix indeed.
Now, the issue he's having is that he is having trouble getting past the next room, which happens to be filled with, well, Silver Knights. And he thinks we're in the same conclusion even if we just came across each other. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to charge in that room, since he believes we're going to need about 6-7 bodies to actually even go into that room. And we're going to show him wrong. He may be having trouble, but we'll solve your problems, buddy. After all, we're good friends, aren't we? I mean, we're both knights of similar capabilities. You know what? We could actually conquer the world together. Everyone else I mention this to thinks I'm crazy and just humors me. But you won't, right? Right? Exactly. The mere silence means, well, he agrees with me. So we're going to go into this room and see what this room truly is. Now, this room holds 3 knights. As you can see, there's a sneaky blade right here. If we go around, you see... Oh, there he is! There you go. Now, what we must do is not fight him near good old Sigmar right there. If we do it around Sigmar, our blade might accidentally swipe him, since that massive wide reach we do is absolutely amazing, but yet dreadful at the same time. There's also 2 knights all the way back over there. Now, what I'm going to try and do is angle one of them. Like that. There we go. You must never fight these guys 2 at once. Because it doesn't matter what type of armor you have, unless you're wearing fully upgraded Fibbles, mind you. It did just do a massive amount of damage. It's insane. Oh god, no. Oh, that was close. And there we go. Playing a bit of a passive game just then. And we just got 1 more knight to go. Hopefully he won't decimate us. The word is hopefully. Now, one thing I'm kind of curious about is why there's 3 knights trapped in a bedroom alone. To me, it's very interesting. But to you, it might seem completely natural for 3 men and 1 tiny, well, I would say child-sized bed. And also, look at the sentinels. Look at that. That's one amazing painting. That's probably when the sentinels were in their prime. Most likely. But now we've got another chest. Now, what's in this chest? It happens to be a nice, ever so shiny demon titanite. Once again, got 2 titanite. But why is a titanite of the demon variety in an ever so holy place? It's very bewitching, isn't it? So no one really knows. Now look at that in Londo. That's a really aged painting. You can tell from the must of it. So let's go talk to our good old friend that we killed everyone inside. See, we don't need 5 people. It's just me and you. We can do anything together. You just need to believe.
Oh ho! What's on your mind, friend? Wait. You defeated those monsters? Fantastic. I'm saved. This Knight of Catalina hereby commends you. Take this as a token of my gratitude.
And we got the tiny being ring.
But be warned, gallantry entails great risks. Next time, give me a chance to come up with a plan.
Now, as you noticed, he had a bit of a defeated spirit at the end, because he wanted to think of a plan where he could solve it. Now, I don't know if you're noticing a trend with every encounter of our good old friend here. He's got a wall, he's thinking about how he can solve it. But we, as Mr. Fibbles, extraordinary fort man, extraordinaire, we solved his problem for him. Now, with each time, he's going to get a little bit more depressed, because he can't solve it himself. Let's keep note of that. Let's definitely keep note of that. But either way, he gave us a tiny being ring. Now, the tiny being ring happens to be one of the starting items. Now, it's a ring made of an ancient tiny red jewel. Grant a small increase to HP. Rings grant powers small and large. Their discovery and effective use can make one's journey easier. One of the weaker rings in the game, since it only gives you not even that much HP to consider, but it's always a little bit that counts, right? That's what I always say. But I'd never go with it myself. There's so many other better rings to be had, to be honest. Especially when you only have a slot for 2 of them. But either way, 1 reward is better than no reward, that's what I say. So what did you got to say, my good old friend? You ever so plump, shiny man, you?
But be warned.
So he's going to carry on going about, yes. So we're going to encounter him once again, but hopefully we don't have to solve his problems. Because it may make him, well, even worse. So, with that over and done with, well, we can, explore more of the place. Now, we unlocked all the doors of this lair. We've only got about 1 more door to unlock, really. And then, there we go. It's all over and done with. We never have to worry about anything more, anything less. Oh, such a strange noise. I apologize about that. I don't know where it's coming from. So, the only place we can go is into this very archway right here. And it goes all the way down in kind of a swivelly staircase form. Once again, another place. But if you notice, wasn't we just here? Well, I don't know if you notice this, but right up there happens to be the staircase we just came across. Now, you probably think, why don't we just vault over that ledge right there to intercede this place? Sadly, you cannot. There's a way you can, but it's a very difficult thing to do. Now, this staircase takes us to a whole new place. A place that happens to be right here. Now, it intersects into the main part of the building, and it's wonderful. Now, in this room happens to be the Titanite demon I was talking about before. In this room is the Dragon Head room, where there's a treasure chest. Now, I want to go to those 2 treasure chests because it has something I want. I desire, but we have to kill one of these people. Now I find the ones with spears to be simpler to kill, but only in big spaces. It's just a shame that their weapons phase through walls, while ours has to collide into walls. But luckily this blade right here is easy as 1, 2, 3 when it comes to walls. It's just so sharp and so heavy and so black it just penetrates the darkness, just like that, or the light that is. Then we got one more guy right here, guarding these 2 chests. And then we can unlock the door and have a look in what's in these chests, because these chests hold something fantastic. So that's him taken care of. Didn't drop a shield, which is kind of saddening. Now in his chest happens to be Silver Knight gauntlets and Silver Knight leggings. And in here happens to be Silver Knight helm and Silver Knight armor. Now the interesting thing about this Silver Knight armor, oh, it's something I've been wanting all game. It is in fact a cape! A very motionless cape. It's not flappy in the slightest. It's very depressing actually. You'd think that a cape like this would be very flappy, but sadly it is not. It's very static, very not so flappy at all. It's very upsetting actually. It upsets me greatly that it's like that, but a static cape is better than no cape at all. After all, I had to have some dramatic noble stars about me. But we'll read what this Silver Knight stuff is said. So gauntlets of the Silver Knights who protect Anor Londo. When Lord Gwyn departed to link the fire, his knights split into 2 groups. The Silver Knights remained in the Forsaken capital in the service of their goddess. So, as I said before, they split into 2 groups. One group went with Gwyn, one went to defend the place, and all the armor says the same thing. Now, I'm going to equip all the armor, mainly because I actually like Silver Knight armor, and it actually makes me look a little bit better than it currently does. I mean, look at me. Don't I look ever so slimming, ever so fancy? I mean, look at that helmet. If it was silver too and wasn't so rusty, it would go so well with this silver armor. Don't you agree? Well, I hope you agree. I personally love it. I adore it, in fact. So, with our newfound armor, what we're going to do is just explore the place just ever so slightly more before I end the video. Now, I don't know how long this video is going to go and end up be. It really does depend how much I want to edit it. Now you can see, all the way down there happens to be where we fought the demons. I don't know if I can get a good angle. Let's see if I can. I don't think I can. But over there's the demons which lead you to the break-in of this place. So now we're going to the main threshold of this fortress. Now this fortress, the outside appearance is mainly aesthetic, since it holds very bare minimum in the interior. And I literally do mean the bare minimum. Now, as you can see, the sentinels down there, but they're a bit more fancy looking. They look like the ones in the photograph. I don't know if you remember what the ones I'm talking about to be exact. Now, there's also a broken window up here. Now, if we want to go into the broken window, we cannot get back up once again. And the only way we can leave is through a homelink bone, I think it's called. The bone that allows you to teleport all over the place. Now, we could have went across the entire flooring, but I didn't want to go across the flooring just yet. I want to go into the other side of the building. Now, on the other side of the building happens to be something that I want to meet. If I stop moving, you can probably hear it. It's metal, clinging against metal. You probably think it's someone probably imprisoned. It's probably someone in dire restraints. But, oh no, it is not someone like that. It happens to be a blacksmith. This is a giant blacksmith. The only sociable giant we're going to meet, really, and have a nice good old conversation with. As you can see, he's tinging that tiny blade of his. But you also see that chest, don't you? Oh yes, it's hard not to see. Now, if we're somehow going to try and get to it, I forget how you get to it exactly, but I know it holds an item. Is it through here? Open, there we go. Now what ring does this hold? It holds a ring of the Hawk Ring. Now, if I can somehow get past this guy, that'd be great. There we go. Now we don't want to go too much outside because there's that demon out there with the hands. Now if we have a look at this ring quick before we end the video, well actually before we end the video we're going to talk to this person anyway. So let's have a look at the ring, shall we? So this ring is one of the special rings granted to 4 Knights of Gwyn. The Hawk Ring belongs to Hawkeye Goth, who led the Great Archers. Boosts bow range that fly like they were shot by Goth's great bow, which took down high-flying dragons. So you could literally shoot the dragons as they flew on by. Let's say you're having a casual little, well, glide along the sky, just to have a bit of fresh air. You know, who doesn't love the air going through your hair or your scales in the dragon's case? He would just shoot them down for sport. It's a bit like dodo hunting in a sense. So there's that. But we'll talk to the giant. He's a sociable chap. He seems to be smacking that hammer about. Ever so precise taps, as you can see. Let's talk to him. Hello, I'm Mr. Fibbles.
Are you forging weapons?
Yes. Now, he's not the most talkative sort of guy.
Tis no good, but forge, very good. I have any time.
Exactly. What are you going to talk to me about? So he doesn't keep on going on about it. Ooh.
Everyone gone.
So he says no one's here, everyone's gone. Anything else to talk about?
You, friend, you talk. I no talk, but happy.
So he's happy that we're just here to talk to him. A good old friend, but it's been a while since you've seen someone. You look like you could use a bath, actually. If I could give you a bucket of water, would you like to have a bit of a sponge bath? I'll be the sponge! He's not too interested about that. But he is a very unique blacksmith. Now, he's one of the few blacksmiths who can actually grant you the special weapons used from boss souls. So, if anything happens to him, you cannot enchant your weapons to be boss weapons. He also sells twinkling titanite, and also large titanite, and he sells a giant halberd, giant shield, and also a very particular arrow, which is sold by no other. Moonlight arrows. Arrows granted by those bound to the covenant of the dark sun Gwyndolin, Lord Gwyn's lastborn. Moonlight arrows glow silver and inflict magic damage, so they're basically the equivalent of magical arrows. He also sells Dragon Slayer arrows and lightning bolts. Special bolts imbued with lightning, crafted by the giant blacksmith of Anor Londo. Giant blacksmith has never seen a crossbow, but remembers the specifications of the bolts requested by ancient warriors. Anything else he's got to sell, and ancient bolts. But he also sells giant armor. Now this is the armor wielded by the special sentinels we bypassed earlier. Now this armor can be enchanted to be the best armor in the game, excluding Havels. It's mainly because it's actually quite decent. Armor of the giant sentinels of Anor Londo, made from ancient brass, it offers protection versus non-physical attacks, but due to its giant size, it is extremely heavy for humans and impedes stamina recovery. It is really good armor, I'm not gonna lie, fully upgraded, it is beautiful. It's something I actually personally wear. But we might not get it, we might get it depending on how I feel regarding twinkling titanite. So there's that, and basically that's a giant blacksmith. We can't give him any embers, sadly. We'll come back soon. We can't give him the embers, it's so sad. But he's good by himself, he's an absolutely ancient man. And just like him, we're going to leave him be, as I'm going to leave you be. So take care of yourselves, and see you next time.